We're all over the place. So again, guys, welcome
Thank you.
to my help, my Mississippi, where I have two fabulous guests this morning, and we're gonna be bringing you the information. I'm telling you, I met these two young ladies at separate times. Didn't know that they were friends, right? And working together, and they both impacted my life with the information that they were providing. And I just said, we got to get this information out to the audience. We got to make sure that the world know who they are and what they have to say. And so we are here this morning making a difference in people's lives. Why? Because it's important that we do. So I have with me this morning Dee Dee. Dee Dee, saying good morning.
Good morning.
I'll let her, she's going to come back and introduce herself. And I also have Jolene. She's going to introduce herself, and we're going to be talking about food that's going to help fight cancer and inflammation. Because I'm telling you, there's information that can be all over our bodies, and
Yes.
and the way it's going to be broken down to you all today. I'm telling you. So get excited, get your pens and papers ready, because we're going to dive into it and make a difference in your life for the rest of your life. Why is that? Because food matters.
Yes, it does.
Food matters.
Yes, it does.
And I want to say, like I always say, that do you know hypertension, high blood pressure is not mandatory? It's not.
It's a choice.
Type 2 diabetes is not mandatory. High cholesterol is not mandatory, but action is required. So what do you need to take action? Helpful, healthy information. I always like to say, if we had more health, if we had more food education, we would be on less medication.
That's right.
I think the only food education that I got in school was an apple a day keep the doctor away. That's not the truest thing, because they were telling us that we didn't need that we needed milk to build our bones. That wasn't true. That we were told we needed meat for proteins, and you know that wasn't true. So I think the truest thing was an apple a day keep the doctor away.
Some good information.
It's some good information, but that was about the extent of it. But not today. Not today. Today we are going to bring it to you live. So we're going to start with Dee Dee. Dee Dee, go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about what food can do with cancer. Go ahead.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm Dee Dee Williams, and I'm a health and wellness coach, and I'm trying to offer courses and community for people who want to start their health journey. Maybe they've never really thought about their health and the things that they can do on a daily basis to support their own health. And then to also encourage people who maybe they want some cheerleading or some accountability in their health journey. And I want to come alongside people and help them with that. And good information is what I'm all about. And I'm going to delve into that in a minute, just with what it means to have informed consent, like that we should know the good things and maybe the bad things that will happen when we put stuff in our bodies.
Yes.
And that we need to make good decisions for ourselves, that we're in charge of that. And we need to make good decisions for ourselves.
Because what we put in matters.
Yes, it does.
Good
It does.
or bad.
Yeah,
It makes a difference, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
we're going to dive into that, but I want to make sure we introduce Joanna. Introduce yourself, and then we're going to go back to Dee Dee and let her dive into herself before this morning.
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting us.
Oh, absolutely.
And I want to thank you for doing this.
Yes.
I think the reason your audience responds so well to you, whether you're doing a cooking demonstration or whether you're on the radio or whether you're talking, is because people know you care.
Yeah.
You're putting out effort, not because you're trying to bring in the millions of dollars. You're
Right.
putting out effort because you care about people and you care about their souls. And so when I first met you about 2 years ago or so, we were doing cooking demonstration and we were talking about inflammation at a health seminar. And in fact, the health seminar was located at a church.
Yes.
And that church had taken the reins for their people because our bodies really do matter
Yes.
to God, to ourselves, to our families. And so I really saw your passion in sharing good information. And like Dee Dee said, cheerleading,
Yeah.
because we need the
We need it.
encouragement
Yes.
of our friends and our family to be able to move in a direction that we're probably not comfortable with.
Right.
So I am Joylyn Bethay. I've married to John Charles Bethay. We've got 9 fabulous kids, and we live outside of town, close to the Bolton and Edwards area. And I've been interested in health probably even as a little kid. I remember hearing vitamins and wanting to take my vitamins because they usually had a lot of sugar in them. And it made you want to take your vitamins and associate that was going to make you healthier and feel better.
Yes.
As I got older, probably about when I was 20 years old or so, I began really taking a strong interest in studying. And sometimes it's not going to just come to you. Sometimes it's great to have a radio station you can just tune into and have somebody just pour everything, give everything to you really easily. But back when I was 20 years old, that was 40 years ago, and we didn't have the internet. So just looking and trying to find good information and sources that I had. Thank you. I appreciate that. The sources that I had, and I located organizations and people that would be able to help me make better decisions.
Yeah.
So since then, I've been researching on an informal way, and then also like Dee Dee, helping other people because not everybody's got the time to be able to research like I had at the time.
Right.
The other thing I was exposed to about 10 years ago was what we nickname muscle testing. And that is a part where it actually is applied kinesiology. There is a college of applied kinesiology, which is backed by 35 years of research and science. And there have been 12 doctors that worked together over that period of time to create a way that our own body's nervous system can be sort of trained to be able to detect weakness. And so a trained practitioner, which I've been trained, can detect weaknesses that show individually customized plans of what kind of supplements, what kind of vitamins your body needs. Because a lot of the confusion we're hearing nowadays that we are being exposed to is, well, not everybody's body responds the same. Not everybody's body has this problem or that problem. You need to eat the diet that's right for you. And that's confusing because
sure.
How do we know?
Right.
What does Dee Dee need? And what is her body saying? I've got weaknesses here. I need help in minerals, or I need help in vitamins, or I can't eat that food because I'm sensitive to it. So when we are able to address the nervous system, we can have customized plans. And that's what I do.
Awesome. And you said something earlier, and that's so true. Good health will not come to us. We got to go get it. You have to go and get it. Having the information is the first step. Applying the information is crucial to becoming healthy. We have been taught wrong for so long. I understand the confusion of a lot of people. Okay, so we want to simplify. That's why I always tell people there are 4 things you ought to be eating, and that's your vegetables, your fruits, your grains, and your legumes, which are your beans and your peas, and then just let a high fiber, low fat diet is going to be the key rather than the standard American diet, which is called the what? The sad diet. We all said that together, right? The sad diet. That is so true. We don't want to have that. So, 2 of my sisters, Dee Dee, one breast cancer, one leukemia, 154, 152. Brother now with stage 4 lung cancer. And so many people. If we're not personally affected by it, we know people who are. And my concern is, like, I started a company called My Health, My Mississippi, and the mission statement is to empower people to view food as medicine. and
Yes.
embrace a plant-based diet for a healthier life. That's period. If we could see food as medicine, talk to us how food can help cancer. And
Oh, well, it's powerful. And my story is a little similar. My mother passed away at 59 from breast cancer. And I was just telling Joylyn on the way here that she didn't have all the information that I wish she had had,
yeah,
but she said yes and no to certain treatments. And I just look back and think, wow, she was courageous to say, this is my
Yes.
body, and I get to decide which course of treatment I want to take for
Mhm.
this. Um, and she had some food information, but I wish she had the information we're going to share today because it is powerful. And I think it was Hippocrates that said, let food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. And I just think we've gotten away from that somehow. I don't know how exactly, but
Mhm.
it's still powerful. And
Mhm.
he understood that the secret to health many times is our own immune system that God
Mm.
gave us. And it's under assault by so many factors, whether it's radiation from our cell phones, pesticides, chemicals from all different things, the stuff we put on our skin, those things weaken our immune system, and it's our best defense.
Absolutely.
It's our best defense. And so we're going to talk about food. We'll just I want to talk about some bad news, and then can we talk about the good news? Is that
Yes,
okay? All
let's
right.
do it. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Well, the bad news is that cancer exists, and like you said, it affects so many of us personally.
Right.
If it's not us, it's our family or friends. I feel like there's hardly anybody that's going to
Yeah.
say that cancer hasn't impacted them in some way. And I feel like it's important for people to understand how it starts,
Yes.
because then you understand why you need to fight it and how you can. Like, to me, the amazing part is that you can start today. You don't have to. You can literally do the things I'm going to suggest today.
So, just so the audience would be clear,
Mm-hmm.
there's something that we could do today
Today.
that will help us for the future,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Good.
And I think that's exciting.
That's
That
really
gets me
exciting.
fired
I
up.
told them to get their pens and paper, right?
Yep.
So I'm telling you, if you hold on to the steering wheel
Yeah.
if you're driving, but you can
Take
go
some
back
notes.
and
Yeah.
watch this on YouTube with
Mhm.
Charles and the Fighters.
That's
But
right.
I told you. All right.
Okay, so here we go. So a healthy cell is one that is comes into existence from multiplication. It does its job. The mitochondria give us the energy that we need, and then it dies. And
Okay.
that's a normal life cycle of the cells in your body. But something happens to this healthy cell, and there's debate about that, but it can be genetics, hormones, stress, chemicals, something from the outside impacts this healthy cell that we all need to live, and it doesn't die. And like it's supposed to. Its normal life cycle, it just keeps on and it replicates at a higher rate than it's supposed to.
Okay.
And so that's not good.
Right.
That's not good. And our best defense against that, so the good news is that it is our immune system. And there are these amazing cells in our immune system called T cells. And we can, through our food and some other things I want to talk about, we can boost not only the number of our T cells, but also their veracity, their ability to kick cancer in the booty. So that's good news.
Yeah, we're
It's
sitting
great
on
news.
pins and needles about T cells.
About T
We
cells.
want the
I
T
know.
cells.
So take some notes. So your T cell, literally, I have this amazing video, and I don't know if we can link things. I should have asked you that. But this video of a T cell basically eating a cancer cell under a microscope. And
Okay.
that is life changing. That's powerful because I can help those T cells fight for my body.
Right.
So that's great news. So food is important. So let's just go ahead and talk about some cancer fighting foods. And they're
To help our
things
T cells.
to help our T cells. That's right. So you talk about fighters, we're going to
Yes,
fight.
yes.
So we're going to get those T cells fired up. So the first one, maybe don't do this right before you go to bed. Your spouse might not be thanking you, but raw garlic is powerful. And if it's a little too strong, one thing that our family likes to do, it's called fermented garlic, but you peel the garlic, put it in a jar, and you cover it with some honey and let it sit.
Mhm.
And you can take it immediately, but after about 7 days, that garlic mellows a little bit. It's
Okay.
not quite so hot, and then the honey itself becomes like a great cough syrup.
Mhm.
So if just eating a clove of raw garlic kind of puts you off because it's strong,
Yeah,
it's not exactly the most fun thing to eat.
I
So
know.
dip it in, yeah, put it
Yeah.
in that honey and let it sit for a while in your pantry, and it becomes a powerful. Like I take it if I feel a little cold coming on or something. So not only is it cancer fighter, but it's just a great tool to have in your medicine cabinet.
So, Dee Dee,
Yeah.
uh, I know that it is difficult, and this is a good way to take it. But I make sure because I know the seriousness of it
Mm-hmm.
and the power of garlic,
Mm-hmm.
I make sure it is included every
All
day,
the time. Yeah.
raw in my diet.
Oh, you're good.
Yes, I
You're
have.
better
I
than
mean,
me.
I don't like. I tell people all the time, I don't like medicine, so food is my medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who wake up every morning and they run to their pill box. They don't like it,
Yeah.
right? Well, I run to my food
There you go.
and I use it as medicine.
That's medicine.
And garlic is so powerful. So I'm sorry, I
It is.
just bring
No,
that out.
no,
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
absolutely, absolutely no. So that's a good one. Green tea, and I'll admit, I haven't done all my research on green tea, but I know it's also a great alternative. I have a cup of coffee a day.
Uh-huh.
I know there's debate about that. It's probably not the best choice, but
It's what you put in it
It-
mostly, but coffee in
Yeah.
itself, from
has
what I
it has some
understand.
antioxidants, and there's
Yes,
some
it
there's
does.
some
A lot.
beneficial things.
Mhm.
And
It does.
I do use either monk fruit or agave
Okay.
in my coffee, so it's good.
Yeah.
And raw milk, so which is wonderful gift. But green tea is a cancer fighter, and then berries, which I love berries because if you have a sweet tooth, which I do, they're lower on the glycemic index too. So you were talking about diabetes isn't, inevitable.
Right.
I love that. And so you can grab some berries and eat those because you're not spiking your blood sugar
Right.
either.
Mhm.
And then leafy greens. We love leafy greens in the South. So those collards, turnips, mustards, which I love to grow in the winter.
Cook without all of the different fats that
Yes.
we like to have sometime in the South.
I love to saute with a little avocado oil. It has a higher, was it flash point or heat point? And so it's really good. To cook. Now, what would you cook them with? I'm curious to know.
Well, I would use just water, saute onions with the water,
Oh,
or
yeah.
use low sodium vegetable broth,
Oh,
and then your onions, your garlic, your
Mhm.
powder, and I mean you can create the best taste if you want. You can use
Mhm.
a little bit of liquid smoke, but you don't need the meat thickening the blood.
Mhm.
Just like what you said, those green leafy
Mhm.
vegetables. I always tell people, let's get these greens into our bloodstream.
Oh,
Got
that's good.
to.
I know. Like I think about my mama and my grandmother. My grandmother tried to get me to eat every green known to man, and I did not. As a kid, I was like, And now I'm fine. I wouldn't say I love them, but I do it because it's good.
It's medicine.
It's good for me to
It's
do.
medicine.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And then carrots. We had a great conversation about carrots on the way too because they boost those T cells, but they can also bring our hormones into balance. So they will soak up the extra estrogen that might be floating around in our bodies because we have issues with estrogen dominance, I think, currently in our culture. And so if you know that you're struggling with that, eat some raw carrots. And then you mentioned the fiber. Do you want to hop in and talk about that, Joyland?
Yeah, what we have found out is that the raw fiber in carrots actually will bind to xenoestrogens. And that's a big topic right now is the problem with plastics and how they are penetrating our bodies. So plastic can act like a xeno or a fake estrogen, and it doesn't act exactly like our natural estrogens. It actually acts like a very big bully, and it comes in stronger than our natural estrogen, and we call them xenoestrogens. And raw carrot fibers will actually bind to those and pull them out of our bodies.
It's amazing.
So it's easy to get the carrot into our body. And some ways we can do this, throw it on top of a salad, or you can just pick it up and dip it with some unfat dip, or hummus, or
Ooh, I
things
love
like
hummus.
this.
Mhm.
So I made a black hummus. My wife loved black bean hummus, and It's simple, but even if you have to buy it, just make sure you're looking at the ingredients.
Mhm.
Don't disrespect your body by not reading the ingredients. So, and then,
That's true.
but there's
That's
different
true.
ways to get those
Yeah.
carrots into the body and let them help fight those T cells.
Well, and you mentioned hummus. That's a great. I chunk a ton of raw garlic in my hummus, so that's another great way to get that raw
You
garlic.
have to be creative
There
and
you
get
go.
it in there,
So don't just
right?
eat like a clove if you don't. Yeah, stick
Yes.
it in that hummus.
Yes.
That's great. I love
Yes.
it. And then cruciferous vegetables. That's a fancy name for a group of vegetables that have certain qualities, and it's basically they have 4 leaves. Which I looked this up because I was like, how do I explain cruciferous vegetables? But they're just a vegetable family
Mhm.
that has that 4-leaf quality. But they're things that you eat all the time, so it's not mysterious. But they're power fighters. So you have some overlap between these and the leafy greens, but you've got kale and collards, mustard and turnip greens, so all your greens, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and cauliflower. And those are some of the most common. There are others, but they're more off the beaten path. But these are things that we can eat easily.
And that we can pick
all the
up from
time.
any
Yes,
store
any
pretty
grocery store. Yeah.
much,
Yeah,
right?
not hard to come by. So it's right there at our, like you said, at our fingertips. We have all of this amazing medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing medicine. I tell people all the time because they say, well, but I don't like this. There's so many different types of greens out there. Find one you like. So I don't like this fruit. There's so many different fruits out there.
Find
Find
something,
one
yeah.
you like. And I tell people, I'm not a picky eater. I'm a picky medicine taker
There you
because
go.
that stuff may hurt me later.
Mhm.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
find out what food I can use that's going to help treat whatever it is my body needs to fight with, right?
Mhm.
Help
That's
these
right.
T cells,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So these vegetables we're used to, now is how we're going to prepare them, and not just dash them with all the oil and different
All the
things like
things,
that.
yeah.
That's going to clog the blood, clog our, our minds. So we need to be clear about now. Let's prepare, okay?
Mhm.
And I would say too now, because there may be some people who are out there living in the Delta may not have fresh vegetables. Okay, but if you're gonna use some out of the can, rinse them out. If you're gonna use the frozen, fine. Just make sure we're getting the right nutrients in our bodies, right?
I always like to say it can't help you if you don't put it in your body.
I like that.
Can't help
Judy.
you. And
It's-
I'm guilty.
yeah.
You buy
Yeah.
something at the grocery store and you have good intentions. And I'm like, oh, I'll let that go bad.
Yeah.
But that's life. And then you do better the next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like the way you said that because we're not perfect. And
Yeah.
again, I have my fighter shirt on. It says future in great health today, every day, responsible self. That's what fighters stand for.
Mhm.
Every fight, and we wake up every morning fighting for our health.
Mhm.
We're gonna make some mistakes. Why? Because we've been taught wrong for so long.
Mhm.
I like to say, and I said it before, if we had more food education, we'd be on less medication.
Mhm.
But we don't have that. And you two ladies, what you are bringing, you put the time in to study, and everybody doesn't have that time. But we want to provide you
Sure.
with it. And so don't trust us. Don't test us. Don't trust us, test us, is what I'm trying to say. Go and look it up.
Yep. Absolutely.
These
Mhm.
cruciferous vegetables, and you can Google now with the phone
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
very
health
easy to
benefits
research.
of this. And
Cruciferous
we didn't have
vegetables,
that
yeah.
before.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And I liked, and I do it all the time. And one of the foods that I was looking up is what you were talking about earlier. But I'll talk about that one on the other side of the hour because that was one of the foods that I
Oh,
had as Who Am I? So I have
Oh.
a segment called Who Am I? So I'll introduce the health benefits of this particular food. You tell me
Oh,
who it
okay.
is, okay?
Oh, fine.
And you
Okay.
mentioned one of them already, so that's
Okay.
cool that we're gonna have that today.
Oh,
But so we're helping those T cells.
so they can fight the cancer for us. Yeah. Well, because some of the bad news is everybody has a little cancer cell, like there are mutated
Yeah.
cells in everybody's body.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds terrifying at first, but it's comforting because we have the weapons to fight back. And so that's some good news. That's really, really great news that we have that in our own, like we have access to those vegetables. We can grow them in our backyards and we can cook them. I know, you were talking about how you cook it matters. And so I love to do every now and then, like some sheet baking. You get a cookie sheet
Mm-hmm.
out and you put some Brussels sprouts. And, I just
yeah.
love sprinkling some kosher salt or something on there and sticking them in the oven. And man, you put them on broil, they get all crispy and crunchy. And that's one of my favorite ways to.
It's one of my favorite too, and I
Yeah.
did that for Mother's Day, and I'll add a little turmeric
Oh,
on it,
so you get
and
fancy.
you can add a little balsamic vinegar
Oh,
on it,
yeah.
and let them baby get crispy.
Mhm.
Great Mother's Day meal.
Mhm.
Great Mother's Day
Mother's Day meal,
We
okay.
had a great time. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
So
sounds awesome.
yeah, so there's just different ways that we could do it, but the idea of it is to get this into our system. Like you said, it can't fight for us, and you said building our immune system. This is our best weapon.
Best defense. Mm-hmm.
So
That's
we
right.
have to do things. We can't go out and perform with a weak immune system.
No,
We're gonna get beat up.
well, we're susceptible to all kinds of things.
Yes.
Yeah. Not just cancer, but whatever, we
Right.
don't, and that's something, we know we're fighting in our bodies, then we're more free. We don't have to be concerned about picking up this bug or that bug because we know. And if we do, because life happens, we do. But we've got that garlic or we've got other things at home. I make elderberry syrup. So again, it's food, and so I can take a little bit of that and fight that way if I encounter something out, because we all are going to go to Walmart and wherever we're going to go, we're going to live our lives. We're going to go to church, and we don't have to be afraid of the things that are out there because we've got these awesome tools at our disposal.
Wow. If you want to be healthy and stay around, eat from the ground.
I love it.
I'm telling
I
you,
love
that
it.
is some good information, people, because those cells, our body is prepared.
Mhm.
The bad news is cancer is out there.
Yeah.
The good news is we have weapons.
That's right.
Can we give our weapons the ammunition that they need so that they can fight for us?
Yeah.
Right?
And that's our job.
That is the key. I am so proud that you're providing this information because so many people think cancer is this big monster and it can do so much damage. And I understand when you hear the C word, right?
Yeah.
But there's something that we can do to just sum up what you were saying today to start
Mhm.
having our body in position to offset this disease.
Mhm.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the middle of our hour, so we're going to take a break and then we're going to come back and we are going to dive into our, this inflammation that could be all over our body. I'm so excited about that as well. So stay with us. First of all, I want to just say thank you guys. I want to say Tabernacle Ministry. Thank you for thinking enough of My Help My Mississippi that you want to support us. We're so proud that you believe in good food, and good food is medicine. So thank you for your support. That's the Tabernacle Ministry. It's good when churches help you to
That's
do
right.
things. All right?
That's
All right.
right.
All right, let's take a break and we'll be right back on the other side.
Through the door, down through the floor, and on this air, shoot through the wall. Man, it's finna get cold. What you gonna do now? Well, man, what's never I do is got to be fun. Where the foundation electrical working, we're talking, and Jackson is listening. WNPR 90.1 FM. The sound is true. Blues, R&B. WNPR 90.1 FM. 90.1 FM. 90.1 FM. The future in great health today.
Every day, responsible self. We're the fighters. Well, we're back, and thank you all for being a part of this amazing show. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your emails. Thank you for all that you're doing, letting us know that you're listening. So wherever you are, We want to always be there. So share the message with others so that we can help bring them this absolutely good news. And if you have questions, we want you to feel free to call in at 601-948-5950. But now it's at this point where I want to talk about who am I real quick. So this particular food boosts immunity, contain compounds like allicin that enhance the immune response, helping fight off cold and infection. Wow, we need this food. Listen, it reduces blood pressure. Studies show that this food can significantly reduce blood pressure in people with hypertension. Who am I? It lowers cholesterol levels. This food can reduce total LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, and can support heart health. This particular food can help with its anti-inflammatory property. This is a powerful food now. This food has natural anti-inflammatory effects that may help reduce the risk of chronic diseases. It's rich in antioxidant. This food supports the body's defense against oxidative damage and age-related disease like Alzheimer and dementia. Wow, this is just how powerful food is. Let's do one more. This particular food helps detoxify heavy metals. High doses of this food have been shown. I'm gonna go take some more of this food. Protects against organ damage from heavy metal toxin. All right. Oh, one more. It improves your bone health. Wow. It enhances athletic performance. Who am I? What food do you think I'm talking about? Listen, are y'all ready? I know you've been anxious. This food acts as a prebiotic, promoting the growth of beneficiary gut bacteria. Wow. And I eat it every day. And you talked about it. My name is garlic, ladies and gentlemen. I am garlic. So this is the type of information that we want you to have. And how can you get this into your system? You don't have to be like me, eat it wrong. Okay. You can add it to a salad. You can saute with it. You can do different things with it. Okay. But once you smash it, just let it sit there for a second so that allicin can kind of, be exposed, and then add it to a salad, or like you said, do some honey, however you want to do it. But it is one that you should always cook with, right?
I do.
Lots of it.
Me as well. Now, let's jump into all of this inflammatory. My mom, everybody suffered with this. And when I heard your presentation, I think it was 2 years ago, it still rings in my head. And I tell you why, because you did a demonstration, not a demonstration, but an illustration about how bees rushes through the. Okay, I would love for you to do it. But talk to us about that. I just remember that from years ago. Yeah.
Well, I'm here to, and I also wanted to tag before I get started with Dee Dee, because she was talking about how we build our T cells and how we can eat certain foods that strengthen our T cells. We've all heard about refined white sugar, and that actually kills our T cells. And a lot of people go, oh, I know sugar's not so great for me. But the refined white sugar actually will kill and damage our immune system. People will say, I've got a sugar craving. And that is a
say
sign.
that again.
I have a sugar craving.
Okay.
And that is not a personality issue. That is actually a health issue. Sugar, if you have a craving, something is not working right in your body.
Right.
That's not just, oh, I just love sweets. It's that you are missing certain vitamins and minerals that once you have replaced those vitamins and minerals will relieve you, reduce those cravings. And we see that at Precision Health. That's a wellness center that I work at. So that's been one of the most exciting things is when people come and say, I don't crave sugar anymore.
Right.
And some people think, oh, that's impossible. That's who I am. I'll always want sugar. And it's not true.
Yeah.
People have said, I don't need to munch. My appetite feels comfortable. I feel like I'm in control. But they have gone through processes of learning how to eat. And also the muscle testing allows for us to find out exactly what vitamins and minerals are missing.
Right.
So when we move into, and then the other thing I want to do is defend the poor little inflammatory response, because inflammation is actually our first step of healing.
Yes.
And we have been trained to think that inflammation is the enemy, and it is not the enemy. Our body protects itself through physical injury and also infection through inflammation. Inflammation is that first step.
Mhm.
It's sort of like the ambulance coming and rushing to the scene of the crime or the scene of the accident. Inflammation swells things up in order to get more blood to
Right.
the area that's been damaged. Now, why do we say, some people say, oh, inflammation is bad, and other people say inflammation is good? It's because it's good. But when we have chronic
Mhm.
chronic inflammation is when your body is always in an emergency. It is just sirens, wee, 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 you know, the chronic, where you're always in a state of crisis, that's a problem. And so we're always talking about chronic inflammation when we're saying, let's see if we can do something about that. So there are foods that are very powerful in reducing inflammation and stopping our chronic state of inflammation. And so I brought this book. I don't know if I'm on the screen yet. We've got all the technology is helping us, but also we're trying to manage it. But this book right here, Eat to Beat Disease. People do not realize how powerful food is.
Yes.
We consider pharmaceutical drugs a powerful healing process, and it is not a powerful healing process. Pharmaceutical drugs help us manage symptoms. And so when we have a symptom like sinus, runny nose kind of thing, or if we've got pain in our stomach, or heart problems, or we're lacking energy, or our hair is falling out, those are all symptoms. And so many times we go to a pharmaceutical drug to stop the symptom, but that is not getting to the root of the problem. So functional medicine will always ask, why do I have this problem? Why is my hair falling out? Why do I not have the energy? And the answer to that will never be a pharmaceutical drug, because pharmaceutical drugs are made in a way that we will always have side effects. That means they are poisonous. And they may keep us alive, and we are grateful for those situations that if we weren't taking them, we would be dead.
Yeah.
That's really the time you need to take them, is to prevent death. But you will never take a pharmaceutical drug to get well. The only thing our bodies will take to strengthen ourselves, the only thing that's bioidentical, is food.
So let me not run over that. That was so powerful. So medicine, that in pharmaceutical medicine, doesn't make you well.
Never.
It
It's a
treats.
poison.
So to reverse things, we need the natural methods, like the food. That's why I always say, and I want people to get this, that's why I always preach food being medicine.
Yes.
This is the medicine. The body can heal itself if you give it the proper nutrients that it
Yes,
needs,
absolutely,
rather than the
Charles.
pharmaceuticals that was made to treat the symptoms.
Yeah.
Big difference. Now
It's a
again,
big difference.
we're not saying for you to stop doing anything, stop your
No.
medicine or anything.
Many
We're
people
not
might die
doctors.
if they stop their
Right.
pharmaceutical.
So you continue to keep your medicine, but you need to start looking at food as medicine. and start treating it. Can we put some respect on food rather than just say sitting and eating because we've been
Well,
taught wrong?
And that's why Dr. William Lee, is last name's L.I.,
Uh-huh.
he asked that same question. As an MD, he was saying, why do I have so many studies on pharmaceutical drugs and what their effects are and what symptoms they can shift and mess around with? Why can't I go someplace and find all the power in food? Well, of course, he followed the dollar and found out that there's just not a lot of studies being done on food because you don't find the
You know?
millions of dollars there.
Right.
And the millions of dollars are supporting things that you can patent. So pharmaceutical drugs sometimes started natural, but there was a molecular shift in order to patent it so someone could make money off of it.
Sure.
So we go back. So he started his own studies. As an MD, he began medical studies on food and food compounds. And this book is so very powerful.
What's the name of that book again?
William Lee. It's Eat to Beat Disease. And he's also on YouTube, and you can look up some of his videos. He does a lot of interviews where he explains, like for instance, kiwi. Kiwi is starting to get a little more powerful, but I grew up in Georgia and we didn't eat a lot of kiwi. But kiwi is super, super high in vitamin C,
Mhm.
and that does amazing things for our immune system. It also, vitamin C is a vitamin that helps us absorb iron.
Mhm.
A lot of times people think if they're low in iron, they need to just go and eat more iron. That's not the case. In fact, that can be very dangerous. Iron can actually be lethal for children. But you can up your vitamin C, and your body will be able at that point to absorb more iron, and you will feel more energetic.
Yeah.
So a kiwi has high vitamin C, but it also, if you eat one a day, it can absolutely change your digestive process to be more powerful. So one kiwi a day is very high in enzymes, and enzymes help break down our food so we can use that power and that energy. So one a day, Dr. Lee says, will help your digestion. 2 or 3 a day can actually repair DNA damage.
Wow.
And when I heard that, that's powerful.
Yeah, that's the actual power of food.
Yes,
And I always say the power of food can affect your mood.
yes.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
so true to just know that, but just to know that information though, rather than, because when something is not going right, you're right, we look straight to pharmaceuticals to see what we can take to fight the treatments rather than what can cure the illness.
Absolutely.
The disease. Good.
Absolutely.
Now,
So,
go ahead.
well, so anyway, with the inflammation, we do want our bodies to respond. So people are saying, but my body is in lots of pain because I have too much inflammation. And so there's one way of handling that. Well, take a drug that will kill your immune system. And people get a lot of pain relief instantly for that. But over time, that's where you end up with susceptibility to cancer, because the cancer, at that point, your immune system's not there to protect you.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do for inflammation is actually eat the foods that your body needs to heal itself, and then the inflammation goes away. So what I like to tell people is eat more, eat more, eat more, because they're always hearing, in order to lose weight, I need to eat less.
Right.
And that's just not true. We're finding that it is our hormones that regulate our body weight. And many times we gain weight in order to protect ourselves from the acids and from the poisons that are in our body.
Mhm.
And so when we eat more, you might say, well, I just love sugars and donuts and cookies. Okay, but eat more fruit. Try to eat 3 servings a day, and then up it to 5. You can eat as much as 7 servings of fruit a day. And then your sugar cravings will start to diminish.
Mhm.
So if you do have your favorite or whatever, okay, but start adding fruit. You can get organic frozen strawberries, make your smoothie. I have blueberries every single day. Honey, walnuts are a brain food,
Mhm.
and it's like a dessert, and it is my medicine.
Yeah.
And it will start clearing your brain. We're seeing a lot with muscle testing that people have a lot of inflammation in their head
Yeah.
and in their ears, and that's causing a lot of brain fog. So it is those eating more fruit and eating more greens that help actually heal, and then the inflammation comes down.
So now people don't normally, and I've been guilty of this as well. When we think of inflammation, we think in our feet and our leg. We don't think of it in our brain.
And it is very scary in your
Yes.
brain. And so that's why we're really looking into brain health. I also brought another book called Brain Food. And if we focus with our brain and taking care of it, a lot of times that will help the rest of our body
Yeah.
heal faster. Because the brain is actually that computer system that tells your body what to do. So if it gets messed up and stressed, then everybody else is really suffering.
Can't do anything but stuff because if that's the computer thing that our brain and the foods that's good for our brain. And think about this now. What does a walnut look like? It even look like the brain, right?
That's exactly
I make
right.
sure I have that every day.
Mhm.
Okay, so these are just the little things that you can start doing and buy it at any store, right? Now, try and get the ones with not all the salt or the honey or the candy walnuts. Let's just get some good old regular walnuts, right? Put them over your oatmeal or put them over your salad. I do it every day. And again, you don't want to eat them out of the can or a bag because you can end up eating too many,
Mhm.
right? But you do want to make sure you're incorporating these every day. A kiwi, but the fruits that are high in vitamin C, you both were talking about different subjects, but we're talking about pretty much the same
Same thing,
food
yeah.
because food is medicine, and if we get that immune system up, we on our way.
Yes.
I mean, we ready to fight. Don't
Yes.
walk out of the house unprepared. Put on the whole armor of so
Yeah.
that you can be ready to take on whatever. And I like to say one of the things that really exposed us was COVID.
Mhm.
It really exposed us because we had such low immune system at the time, and when it hit,
Yeah.
I mean, we went down.
Yeah.
And there were people who couldn't recover because of that. I
That's
lost. I know there were some good friends of mine or in heaven there because I said friends of mine, acquaintances of mine, church members, and different people in the families that could not bounce back from that. But interestingly enough, when we talk about immune system, first thing we get when we leave the doctor's office, when we are suffering with a low immune system, they give you a high dose of vitamin C, vitamin E, all the things that we should be eating every day anyway. And I like to tell people vitamin C is not stored in the body, right? So we need to replenish that every day. You can't tell me you had some fruit last week.
Yeah.
You need it today, right? And so many different fruits out there, but keeping that. And then again, we get vitamin C from your greens and stuff like that, but we're talking about those that are really high in your vitamin C, okay? And so that's where we are. You're with different subjects, cancer, inflammation, but some of the same food.
Same. Yeah.
Because
Basic principles.
Because
Yeah.
because the idea of it is food is medicine. That's the message.
Mhm.
I hope we are hearing the message. We're preaching this morning.
Mhm.
Food is medicine.
Yes.
So
And
eat your
very
medicine.
powerful.
Very powerful.
Mhm.
And cancer is not really a scary,
Mm.
big monster. It is the absence of us not having the vitamins and minerals in our
We
body.
need-
And it's like, well, darkness is powerful. No, it's the absence of light.
Yeah.
Once the light turns on, there's no darkness. It doesn't fight light. And so cancer is a result. We have to say why. Where did it come from? Because it is the absence of the right vitamins and minerals that we need in our body. And movement. You know, we look to food and we think food is everything, and it is. But there are things that actually can tear our bodies down that are worse than bad food. And that is our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that doctors now with their studies are finding out, that we, with our thoughts, can actually create chemicals in our brain that are very toxic. The cortisol, it helps us run from tigers
Mm-hmm.
if we're being attacked.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I've seen very few tigers in Mississippi. But we still shoot a lot of cortisol into our brain and into our bodies. And they're finding that if people will pay attention to how upset they get, that they can get, we're seeing results with the muscle testing of people's thoughts and their nervous system. That can take on sometimes 5 times more powerful than even the foods that we eat.
Yeah.
So that's why we are hearing, a lot of people will be hearing about breath work.
Yeah.
Breath work is something that helps us calm down and not shoot the cortisol all into our body.
Well, and that's again, it's all about the education too, because things are dark and gloomy. Because when we hear the word cancer, we only think about, of course, death and doom, and we don't even think about how food can cause this, and the right food can prevent this, right? And so we just kind of take the information and be proactive. And I like the way you said that it's not this big monster, but we have created it as a big monster because of our habits. We love to just eat. We love to eat food that doesn't have any benefit to the body, but we've been told that it has benefit to the body. For an example, let's just call it out what it is. Like meat has no fiber at all, right? Eggs has no fiber at all. I'm not telling you what to eat, but giving you some facts, and don't trust me, test me, look it up. Dairy has no fiber, right? You can do what you want, but the body needs fiber in it, and all of the fruits, your vegetables, your grains, and your beans and your peas are going to provide you with a high fiber diet and a low fat diet. And again, we could talk about any disease, but it really comes back to the food and our thoughts, as you said. But we have created this huge monster. So let's make sure that with this information, guys, people will know how to get in touch with you when they need to. So let's start with you, Dee. Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Well, I have an email address. It's deedee@sagesisterhood.org. That's sage as in wisdom or the herb. So SAGE, sisterhood.org. And then my phone number is 601-622-0891. And I'm happy to answer questions or, again, help you get started on your journey. And then I teach some classes right now. I have an in-person sourdough class, and I'm actually going to be at the Raymond Library today at 1. Little plug for that. Yeah. Tasha Bass is the librarian there, and she's amazing. And she really cares about her community. And so I'm going to be doing a sourdough demo there today at 1 o'clock.
Good.
So anybody can come out and watch. There's going to be a few students that are actually going to make a loaf of bread to take home, but anybody can come and watch the demo.
Good. Tell us, Jolene, how we can get in touch with you before we leave.
Well, I do have a muscle testing area that I call precisionhealth.com. Precision Health IMT. The IMT stands for Integrated Muscle Testing. And so my website is precisionhealthimt.life, L-I-F-E.
Oh, fun.
Well, thank you guys for being with us today. This has been a lot of fun. I'm so excited to have you. Just make me a promise you'll come back. We'll do it again,
Absolutely.
okay? You can reach me at myhelpmymississippi.com. That's myhelpmymississippi.com. Thank you all for being a part of this show today, and thank you for reaching out to us. We'll see you next Thursday, same time, same station, WMPR 90.1, where we're having so much fun. Y'all have a great evening. We'll talk to you later. Can we hear that music? Let's fighting for our health. Oh. There it is.